This black woman is the judge. I'm not taking orders from a maid. Officer Donald Vance muttered as he stepped into the courtroom. His voice was coated in disgust, his ego inflated by a badge and years of unchecked power. No one expected what would happen next. Not even him. Judge Alana Rivers, 42, sat calmly behind the bench. Her dark skin, composed expression, and piercing eyes commanded the room without raising her voice. She'd seen many like Vance before, arrogant men threatened by a black woman in authority, but today felt different. Vance wasn't just disrespectful, he was dangerous. "You're in my court now, Officer Vance," she said evenly. "Watch your tone." But he laughed, stepping forward as if he owned the space. "You're not my judge. You don't belong up there. I don't take orders from people like you." Alana held her ground, but Vance's eyes narrowed. Then in one sudden move, he slapped her across the face. Gasps filled the courtroom. The crack echoed like thunder. Her head turned from the force, but she didn't fall. She straightened slowly, her lips swelling, a bruise blooming. "Now maybe you'll listen," he sneered. "You only got that robe to tick a diversity box. Don't think it means anything." Still, she didn't flinch. "Get out of my courtroom," she said coldly. "I said listen to Officer Miller," she called to the young man by the door. "Do your job." Miller hesitated, stunned. Vance barked out a laugh. "Even your own people don't back you. You're nothing but a symbol, an upgraded slave playing judge." The words hung in the air like smoke from a fire. Alana stood, slow and controlled. "Officer Donald Vance, you're under arrest for assaulting a federal authority." His smirk vanished. "You're joking," he spat, but she wasn't. A prosecutor stepped forward. Miller finally moved. Within seconds, Vance was handcuffed, his arms pulled behind him by the very officers who once nodded at his cruelty. As they dragged him out, a flicker of memory crossed his mind. A wooden porch in Kansas, his father snarling, "Don't play with those black kids. You're white. You're better." He was 7. The day he shared a sandwich with Jerome, the black boy who never came back to school after his father found out. The rage was planted then, deep and festering WY12. Vance was spewing hate like it was second nature. By 17, his father drank himself to death, still preaching fear and superiority. Make them respect you. Make them fear you. And Donald did. He joined the force, rose through ranks, never for fairness, just for control. He knew how to write false reports, how to plant drugs, how to keep his record clean. He hurt people, especially black people, and no one stopped him. He was a symbol of fear in their communities, a badge backed by a system that looked the other way. Until today. Now, with cameras flashing, Vance was dragged down the hall he once strutted through. He didn't cry, but something burned in his eyes. Hatred, not regret. Outside, the city stirred. Maritza Delgado, an investigative journalist known for chasing buried stories, had watched the footage of Alana Rivers getting slapped on the bench. Something about the rawness of it made her dig deeper, and she found it a sealed report from 2018. Malik Jefferson, 19, arrested for resisting. His injuries? A shattered jaw, broken ribs, and bruises down his back. Officer in charge? Donald Vance. No body cam footage. Case dismissed. But now, eyes were opening, spray painted on courthouse walls. Not the first time. This wasn't just a case. It was a reckoning. Friday, 10 a.m., the trial would begin, but protests already filled the streets by Tuesday. Vance's name was everywhere. Judge Rivers, recovering at home, stood firm. But whispers ran through City Hall. Vance wasn't acting alone. Others had helped hide reports. Officers, officials, names still protected. And one name was missing from the files. A name Maritza just found. Someone who signed off on Vance's false reports. Someone inside Judge Rivers' own chambers. She picked up the phone. "Judge Rivers? We need to talk. You're not the only one he hurt." Malik Jefferson had screamed for justice once. Walked into the precinct beside his mother, bruised and broken, begging someone, anyone, to believe him. But all he got was silence. The prosecutor tossed the case. His criminal record, they said. What record? A traffic ticket. A wrongful detention at 15. That was enough to silence him, that he wasn't the only one. In 2016, Cassandra Riles, a 33-year-old mother of three, was slammed against a patrol car for carrying groceries in her own neighborhood. Officer Donald Vance had called her an N-word slut, then drove her face into the pavement. 2 teeth gone, blood on the sidewalk. She filed a complaint. There were witnesses, photos. It was dismissed anyway. Contradictory statements, they said, and sitting in the front row of Vance's trial now, uniform pristine, eyes cold, was the same supervisor who'd signed off on the dismissal of both cases. Pretending none of it ever happened. Inside his holding cell, Vance wasn't shaken, wasn't remorseful. Witch hunt, he growled at his lawyer, a tired man with nicotine breath and a twitchy pen. You better fix this, because if I go down, a whole lot of people are going with me. The lawyer grimaced. Donald, the evidence, photos, medical records, testimony. This isn't like the others. Vance's eyes narrowed. Photos of black people whining? That's evidence now? Please. I've done more for this city than any of them. I'd do it again. To the judge, the kid, the supermarket whore. All of them. His lawyer didn't respond. Just scribbled something on his legal pad. But Vance leaned in. You hear me? I want you to smear her. Judge Rivers. Dig up something. A gang-affiliated cousin. A troubled brother. Hell, make it up if you have to. She's black. They'll believe anything. Across the city, Cassandra Riles turned her phone on for the first time in years. She hadn't wanted to see another headline. But when the journalist showed up and said, "They believe you now," she wept. Not from pain, from validation. In the courtroom, Donald Vance wore the same ironed uniform he'd worn the day he struck Judge Alana Rivers. A silent insult. Alana arrived without her robe, just a sharp, navy suit. Her bruised lip had faded, but a dried cut still marked the corner of her mouth. She left it visible, intentionally. The court is in session, declared federal Judge Harvey Glassman, his gavel trembling slightly in his hand. Prosecution may call its first witness. Your Honor, we call Judge Alana Rivers. She walked forward, slow, unwavering. No notes, no requests. She swore the oath and stared Vance dead in the eyes. Judge Rivers, can you describe what occurred on Monday the 9th? Alana inhaled. Officer Donald Vance entered my courtroom uninvited, verbally attacked my race, my authority, struck me across the face, and called me a black bitch in front of a full courtroom. Objection, Vance's lawyer snapped. Inflammatory language. Overruled, Glassman said without hesitation. Continue. Vance scoffed from the defendant's table. So what if I said it? Nobody's going to believe them. They never do. I was protecting this city while they were leeching off it. Maybe if they acted like humans, they'd get treated like them. Gasps. Silence. Then the gavel again. You are not permitted to speak, Judge Glassman barked. But Vance had already done it. The mask was gone. Every word exposed him. Judge Rivers didn't flinch. I've sentenced criminals of every background. Color never influenced justice. But to this man, my existence was a crime. How did it feel to be assaulted in your courtroom? The prosecutor asked. Alana's answer was razor sharp. The slap didn't hurt the most. What hurt was seeing how many stood still. His hatred didn't scare me. His power did. Malik Jefferson followed, still limping. I was pulled out of my car for being suspicious. Vance cracked my ribs with a flashlight and told me he was going to teach me how to behave like a real black man. Then Cassandra Riles. Her hand shook, her voice didn't. He knocked out my teeth, dragged me like trash. I believed the system when they said I exaggerated. But I was just scared. Vance spat again. On the courtroom floor. The judge didn't say anything. He didn't have to. The jury noticed. Everyone did. Then came the sentence. 24 years. No parole. No appeals. Vance didn't blink. Just muttered, "Damn black people," under his breath. No apologies. No tears. Just the same festering hatred he'd always carried as he was escorted from the courtroom. He turned for one last look at Alana Rivers. She didn't look back, because to her, Donald Vance no longer existed.